Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me for my review of Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury Episode 2 Cursed Mobile Suit. Finally get to hear the opening. It's catchy, maybe not a banger. The openings do tend to grow on me though, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, we start off this episode kind of right after the other one ends with the big battle, and then the elite students at the school seem to kind of pick up on the origins of the Ariel, and everyone kind of realizes, that it's based on the Gundam technology that had been outlawed during the prologue episode, and then everyone kind of at the school is shocked at the outcome of the match, and the jig is up on Soletta, and then the military obviously, well, not obviously, but the military learns that the Ariel is a Gundam as well. She's immediately taken into custody. The results of the duel then get thrown out. It would sort of kind of be hilarious if the entire school plot was just a setup for the first episode to draw people in, and then they just kind of got rid of it. But that's probably not going to happen. I'm also kind of wondering about the relationship between Mio, Mio, Mio Rene and Soletta. They kind of annul the engagement, and Mio Rene basically says she has no interest in Soletta and just kind of wants her to bring her to Earth. But the opening does seem to imply that there's going to be some sort of relationship between them, so we'll see. Then there's some interesting world building. Apparently, your status in the school is based on the company that sponsors you. And I guess Soletta's company is like the absolute worst on the list, so everyone's kind of like judging her. And the episode also builds up a lot of the tension between the Earthian and the Spatians, even among the students at the school. Meanwhile, Miorine is getting removed from school and set up with a husband by her father. As you can imagine, she is not thrilled about this. And then she hires some people to like smuggle her to Earth, and then she attempts to go escape with them. Meanwhile, Soletta is part of this inquiry by the military, and there's a representative of the organization that sponsors her, arrives, and we're introduced to Lady Prospera, who is a female masked character, female Char, which is exciting. And it looks like Miorine decided not to escape to Earth, instead crashes the inquiry to call out her father and challenges him to a duel. Sweet, so we're going to get another cool battle this episode. And it looks like that battle is going to have to wait to the next episode. Man, the second half of that episode went by really fast. But there is a very brief cool battle after the credit scene and before the next episode preview. So this episode seemed way more Gundam-y than the first episode. I wasn't a huge fan of the first episode. I kind of thought it was maybe trying a little bit too hard to be approachable to the point of almost being generic. So although I didn't hate it, I did have some concerns. Though I would say that I generally did like the prologue episode a lot. But I think the second episode did a much better job of tying in a lot of the kind of world building from the prologue episode and then tying it in to everything that got established in episode 1. So we kind of have the background from the prologue and then the kind of scenario from episode 1. We have the dueling from episode 1, but then we have the backdrop of Earth versus space. We have a daughter of privilege rebelling against her father. And then that same person trying to get to Earth, and then we have this corporate and political intrigue going on. There wasn't a ton of info dumping in this episode, but it was more character building, like Delling, Miorine, and the entire Jeddark family. I also really enjoyed building up the tension between the Spatian soldiers and the Earthen soldiers, and even the Earthen and Spatian students at the academy. We also get to learn about what happened to the Ox-Earth Gundams after the prologue episode, which they were presumably all destroyed except for whatever became the Ariel. And then we continue to establish the importance of corporations in this world, which is a little unique, I think, for a Gundam episode. For a Gundam series, but I think is interesting. The main downside of this episode, and a poor decision in my opinion, was not having another battle. I think there was a lot of kind of hype coming out of the first episode, and although a lot of it was the plot and the interesting elements of the show, and potential Yuri elements, I think that a big part of it was the high production values, and the cool battles. So I think not having any action in this episode, minus a very, very brief, blink if you miss it battle after the end credits, could turn some people off from the episode. Though the ending does seem to establish that we're going to get another cool battle in episode 3, so hopefully that will draw people, back in for the third episode. The music and the sound design of this episode continue to be great, although I'm not in love with the opening yet. And although there weren't any cool battles, the animation did continue to be of high quality. All in all, I think this episode did a really good job of introducing some trademark Gundam elements, and combining them with some elements that are new to the Gundam franchise to create something that's kind of both approachable to newcomers and familiar to longtime Gundam fans. I'm really interested to hear what other people think about this episode, specifically people who are not maybe super well versed in Gundams, and I really hope it doesn't turn them off, and turn off, the new fans that joined for episode one. But I personally like this episode a lot more than episode one, and I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. I thought the first half was a little slow, but the episode was over before I knew it once we hit the eye catch in the middle. Anyway, thanks for checking out this video, and if you enjoyed it, I'd really appreciate your like or subscribe, and let me know what you think about the episode, and whether you're a seasoned one-year war veteran, or if this is your second or third day at boot camp. I'm going to continue doing these Gundam reviews, getting them out Sunday morning, and if you're new to the channel, check out my other figure reviews, which go up on Wednesdays, and occasionally additional days of the week when I have something else that I want to open.